Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast. We are breaking down chapter 156 today, Okama Weather.
A title that is both perfectly descriptive and tells you almost nothing about the sheer chaos of this chapter. It sounds like it could be a whimsical, Nami-focused chapter about strange atmospheric conditions, but it's really the title of the most effective psychological weapon we've seen deployed against the crew so far.
Right? It starts out as this fun, goofy little side story. The crew meets a weirdo, they have a laugh, and then Oda just pulls the rug out from under you in the last few pages. It's one of his classic bait-and-switch chapters. He lulls you into this comfortable rhythm, this slice-of-life adventure vibe, and then bam, he hits you with a reveal that recontextualizes everything and cranks the tension up to 11.
They just made friends with a walking, talking intelligence nightmare, a man who can steal their identities. He is a one-man infiltration unit, and they willingly, cheerfully, gave him the keys to their entire operation.
And if you want to be here with us as we piece together the fallout from this, make sure you're following the show. You don't want to be the last one to hear how the Straw Hats plan to fight an enemy who can wear their faces. Hit that subscribe button, leave a review, it helps us out a super amount.
Let's set the scene. It's been 5 days since they left Drum Island. The snows of a winter island are a distant memory, replaced by the unpredictable warmth of the Grand Line.
And the vibe is good. I mean, it's really good. Chopper is on board, he's part of the crew, everyone is healing up from the fight with Wapol. Luffy's got his energy back, Nami's fully recovered from her illness. You can feel this sense of relief and optimism on the Going Merry. They have a doctor now, a real brilliant doctor. That alone changes the entire dynamic of their journey.
It's a significant milestone. They are a more complete, more resilient crew than they were a week ago. Chopper is still finding his sea legs, both literally and figuratively. He's this shy, earnest presence, and you see the rest of the crew, especially Luffy and Usopp, just taking him under their wing. But of course, there's a classic Straw Hat problem brewing, one that no doctor can solve.
The eternal enemy of the Straw Hat Pirates, an empty pantry.
The food stores are shrinking. Sanji is in the galley, trying to work his magic, stretching rations, making every grain of rice count. But with Luffy on board, that's a losing battle. The panel of Sanji looking at the dwindling supplies with a stern, focused expression is a familiar one. He's the quartermaster of morale, and he knows they're heading into a war zone on fumes.
It's such a perfect, normal start. It feels like we're just getting back to the daily adventure life on the Merry. They're not storming a castle or fighting a tyrant. They're just sailing, joking, and worrying about dinner. Oda grounds us in this domesticity, this comfortable routine, before he throws the next curveball. And then the Grand Line does its thing.
They sail into a thick fog, but it's not a normal fog. It's hot and humid, clinging to the ship. Nami, with her preternatural senses, identifies it as smoke steam from undersea volcanoes. It's a detail that immediately puts you on edge.
You just never get a normal day of sailing, do you? It's never just water and sky. Remember Reverse Mountain? The weather changing in the blink of an eye between Little Garden and Drum Island. Oda always has some new bizarre weather phenomenon to remind you that this is a world that does not play by our rules. This isn't just a backdrop. The sea itself is an active character in this story, and it's always hostile or, at best, capricious.
It serves a narrative purpose as well. The fog isolates them. It cuts them off from the rest of the world, creating a stage, a pocket dimension where the normal rules don't apply, and anything can emerge from the mist. It's a classic setup for a strange encounter, and Oda does not disappoint.
It's through this strange hot steam that they finally see him, a shape in the water.
And what an entrance! This is an all-time great character introduction. This dude is dressed like a full-on swan, ballet outfit and all, with these giant swan wings on his back that are clearly just part of the costume. He has Okama Kenpo written on his coat, and he's wearing full makeup, and he's just flailing around in the water.
The design is just chef's kiss. It's so absurd, so flamboyant, so utterly unforgettable. Oda's greatest strength is his ability to create characters that are instantly recognizable in silhouette, and this is a prime example. The swan motif, the ballet poses, it's a whole aesthetic, a whole personality conveyed in a single image.
Drowning, naturally, because where there's a bizarrely dressed person drowning in the middle of the ocean, there is almost certainly a devil fruit user. It's the Achilles heel of the most powerful people in this world. They conquer the land, they command incredible forces, but they are rendered helpless by a few feet of seawater. It's a great equalizer.
Right? Luffy doesn't even blink. They see a guy in trouble and they just jump into action to save him. It doesn't matter that he looks completely absurd. It doesn't matter that he's a total stranger. That's the core of this crew right there. There's a purity to their heroism. See problem, fix problem. See person drowning, save person. No questions asked.
He is incredibly grateful. He introduces himself as an Okama, and he has this flair. Everything is a pose, a dance. He doesn't just stand, he strikes a pose. He doesn't just speak, he performs. He lives his life on a stage of his own creation.
He's just so much fun immediately. The energy is infectious, and he wants to thank them for saving his life by showing them his special talent. It's such a pure exchange. They saved him out of kindness, and he wants to repay that kindness with entertainment. The economy of the Straw Hats runs on goodwill, not on berries.
Which is, of course, his devil fruit power. The Mane Mane no Mi, the clone fruit. He explains it with all the showmanship of a master magician revealing his trick.
And the way it works is so specific and so cool. It's not just, I can shapeshift. There are rules, a methodology. He touches someone's face with his right hand, and that face is memorized, added to his repertoire. Then, when he wants to transform, he touches his own face with his left hand to revert to his original form.
The mechanics are important. The right hand to acquire, the left hand to reset. This implies it's a conscious act. He can't just absorb a face by accident. It's a deliberate, tactile process. He explains he has a whole memory bank of faces he can turn into. This isn't just a power, it's a collection, a library of identities.
Luffy, Usopp, and Chopper are absolutely losing their minds. To them, this is the greatest party trick they have ever seen in their lives. They're not thinking about the tactical implications. They're thinking, this is the coolest thing ever. They're begging him to show them, like kids at a magic show. The pure, unadulterated wonder on their faces is so genuine.
While they're laughing, all I can think about is the potential for espionage, for assassination. It's an infiltrator's ultimate dream. You don't need a disguise. You are the disguise. You can bypass every guard, every checkpoint. You can walk into a king's throne room and no one would be the wiser. You could whisper poison into a general's ear using the face of his most trusted advisor. This fruit in the hands of a clandestine organization like Baroque Works is more dangerous than a fleet of battleships.
But the boys don't see that, not for a second. They just see a new, hilarious friend. And he puts on a whole performance for them. He starts cycling through faces. It's this hilarious, rapid-fire sequence of transformations.
He touches Luffy, then turns into Luffy. The same rubbery smile, the same scar under the eye. He touches Usopp, turns into Usopp, perfectly capturing his long nose and panicked expression. He gets Zoro, and suddenly he has the same intense glare and green hair. He becomes Nami, and the boys just lose it. He even turns into a perfect copy of Chopper in his hybrid form.
The crew is just dying of laughter. The panel where he's Nami and Luffy and Usopp are just pointing and screaming with joy is so wholesome. It's this beautiful, pure moment of just fun. They met this ridiculous, kind-hearted person, and they're all just having a great time together on the deck of the Mary. There's no suspicion, no ulterior motives. It's a moment of found family at its finest.
He even gets Vivi. He touches her face, and for a moment we see two Princess Vivis on the deck of the Going Merry. He adds her face to his collection, and in that moment she's just as amused as everyone else. The true danger hasn't clicked for anyone yet. It's all still a game.
This is what makes the Straw Hats special, bro. They don't judge. They just open their hearts to people. This guy's Okama way, his philosophy of living true to yourself, of departing from the path of a man and the path of a woman to create your own path, it just clicks with them instantly. Luffy lives by that creed without ever putting a name to it. Be free. Be yourself. Of course they'd be instant friends.
But while he's showing off all the faces he can make, cycling through his collection for their amusement, one of them stands out. A face none of them recognize. It's just for a single panel, a quick flash in the montage of transformations.
Oh, right. The older guy with the fancy beard and the serious expression. He looks like some kind of big shot. At the time, you just figure it's some random guy he's met on his travels.
Yes. And Vivi recognizes him instantly. The smile on her face freezes. You can see the flicker of confusion and alarm in her eyes, even though she doesn't say anything out loud. It's the face of her father, Nefertari Cobra, the king of Alabasta.
Wait, so this guy has been to Alabasta? He's met the king? That's a really big deal. Kings don't just let random ballerinas touch their faces.
He's been close enough to the king to touch his face. This isn't just some random performer. This is someone who has had access to the highest levels of the Alabasta kingdom. The implications are chilling. It means Baroque Works has already breached the palace walls. The conspiracy Vivi is fighting isn't at the gates. It's already in the throne room. That one panel is a huge piece of intel that Vivi processes in a split second.
And who's not there for any of this? Sanji. Our boy is in the galley the whole time, probably stressing about how to make a gourmet meal out of 3 potatoes and a fish. He's completely oblivious to the party happening on deck.
Correct. He is the only Straw Hats whose face this man does not see and does not copy. Oda makes a point of showing us this. It is a deliberate exclusion. In a chapter about the terrifying power of impersonation, the existence of one crew member whose identity remains secure feels monumentally significant. I have a feeling that will almost certainly play out later.
It's all just fun and games for a while. This guy, Bon Kurei, is talking about the Okama way and how friendship knows no bounds. They're all dancing, there's music, they're having the time of their lives. It feels like they just made a new friend for life. He declares them friends, a bond forged in the fires of near drowning and shared laughter.
And then his ship arrives to pick him up. The fog parts and we see his vessel.
And of course, his ship is a giant swan, with a swan head for a figurehead and swan-themed sails. The commitment to the theme is incredible. You have to respect it. This man lives his brand 24/7. It's super.
His crew, all dressed in similar though less elaborate swan-themed outfits, calls out to him, welcoming him back. They call him by his name, his code name.
Welcome back, Mr. 2 Bon Kurei.
And the entire mood on the Going Merry just shatters. The sound of that name is like a record scratch. The party stops. The music dies. The air grows cold.
The smiles just vanish, especially on Vivi's face. The way Oda draws that realization dawning on her is brutal. It's a full-page spread dedicated to the crew's shocked faces. Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Vivi. The laughter is gone, replaced by a stunned, horrified silence. She knows that name. We, the readers, know that name.
He's an officer agent from Baroque Works, a numbered agent, meaning he's one of the 13 most powerful and trusted operatives in the entire organization. He answers only to Mr. Zero, to Crocodile.
They just spent the afternoon becoming best friends with one of the top commanders of the organization they are about to go to war with. The guy they were just dancing with is on the same level as the assassins who attacked them at Whiskey Peak and Little Garden.
Worse than that, they just handed that commander their faces. He didn't have to trick them. He didn't have to fight them for it. They gave him their most valuable secret, their identities, freely, as a gesture of friendship. They opened the door for him, and he, completely by accident, placed a dagger in their backs.
The implications are just staggering. He can walk into Alupabarna, the capital city, looking like Princess Vivi and give an order that starts the final bloody phase of the Civil War. He could walk onto the Mary in the middle of the night looking like Zoro and attack Luffy, breaking the crew apart from the inside.
He could become Nami and steer them into a trap. He could become Usopp and sabotage their weapons. The potential for psychological warfare is immense. How can you trust anyone when your enemy can be anyone? He can sow paranoia and distrust from the inside. The friendship they offered him so freely has become the most dangerous weapon imaginable against them.
That reveal is an absolute gut punch. It's one of the best plot twists in early One Piece. Oda lets you have this pure, fun, heartwarming moment and then just yanks it away and replaces it with ice-cold dread. Super smart writing. The tonal whiplash is staggering and incredibly effective.
It's a masterful turn. He spends the majority of the chapter making you, the reader, fall in love with this character. Bon Kurei is charismatic, kind, and hilarious. And then, with a single line of dialogue, he's transformed into one of their most dangerous adversaries. And you see the crew processing it. The party is over. The laughter has died.
But here's the thing, and this is what's so cool about the Straw Hats. They don't panic. They don't start yelling or freaking out or blaming each other. They have about 10 seconds of stunned silence, and then they immediately get serious.
They pivot instantly from shock to strategy. Nami, ever the pragmatist, lays it out perfectly. Their enemy can now look exactly like one of their friends. Their greatest strength, their trust in one another, has just been targeted. They can't trust their eyes anymore.
So they have to figure out a new way, a way to know for sure who's real and who's the fake. They need a system, a sign, a password, something that proves they are who they say they are. It's straight out of a Cold War spy movie.
The chapter ends on that decision, that they must come up with a countermeasure before they reach Alabasta. It's not a question of if they'll do it, but what it will be. They have accepted the new reality of their situation and are already moving to counter it.
What a cliffhanger, man. It's absolutely brilliant. They're sailing towards this massive, kingdom-spanning conflict, and Oda just handed them this insane internal threat that could tear them apart before they even arrive. The external war with Baroque Works has just become an internal battle of trust.
It's the perfect spy thriller setup. How do you fight an enemy you can't see? An enemy who can wear the face of your closest friend. The stakes for Alabasta just escalated exponentially.
Speaking of behind the scenes, Oda's author comment this week was a shout out to another manga artist, a Mr. Kiyamachu. He congratulates him on finishing his series and then immediately says he's going to ask him for his help as an assistant. Classic Oda, always hustling.
No rest for the talented, I suppose. It's a small glimpse into the collaborative, high-pressure world of weekly manga creation. These creators are peers, rivals, and often colleagues all at once. It's a demanding industry that requires a deep support network.
It's cool to see him shouting out his peers, but man, my brain is still stuck on the Mr. 2 problem. This is a huge complication. It changes everything. Any plan they had for a frontal assault or even a stealthy infiltration has to be completely reevaluated now.
The sheer complexity that this one character introduces into the Alabasta saga is immense. He is a narrative chaos agent. I've been running through all the possibilities in my head, trying to figure out what kind of countermeasure they could possibly come up with.
All right, prediction time. What's coming in chapter 157? My first one, the countermeasure is going to be something physical they do to themselves, like they'll all get a matching mark or a bandage on a specific part of their body that only the real crew knows about. Something simple that Bon Kurei wouldn't know to copy because he can only replicate their physical bodies as he last saw them, not any changes made afterward.
A classic espionage technique known as a sign-countersign, but a physical one. I like that. It's simple, effective, and visually clear for the reader. My first prediction, we won't see the Straw Hats right away. The next chapter will open with Mr. 2 reporting back to Baroque Works, possibly to Miss All Sunday or another officer agent, and he will use one of the Straw Hats' faces during that meeting, probably Luffy's or Vivi's, to demonstrate his new asset, just to establish the stakes for us, the readers, and for the villains.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a classic Oda move. Show the threat from the villain's perspective to build dread. Okay, my second prediction builds off what you said earlier. Sanji is going to be the linchpin of their defense. Since Bon Kurei never saw his face, Sanji is the only person they can be 100% certain is not an imposter. He's going to be their ace in the hole, the one who can spot the fake. He'll be the designated verifier.
That makes a lot of tactical sense. He's their one known variable, their secure asset. My final prediction, Bon Kurei made a critical error by showing them King Cobra's face. It was an act of pure showmanship, but he revealed too much. Vivi now has confirmation that Baroque Works has infiltrated the royal palace itself. This will force her and the crew to completely change their plan for arriving in Alabasta. They can't just sail into port and go to the castle. It's too compromised. They'll have to adopt a much more covert strategy.
So, their little party actually gave them a crucial piece of intel, even if it came at a terrifying price. He gave away a part of Crocodile's plan without even knowing it. That's awesome. They lost the element of surprise with their faces, but they gained intel on the enemy's position. It's a trade-off.
A small advantage in a situation that is now overwhelmingly tilted against them. The game has changed completely. They aren't just fighting a secret organization anymore. They're fighting a ghost that can live inside their own ranks. The path to Alabasta just became infinitely more dangerous.
Man, what a chapter. That's all the time we have for today. Join us next time as we see what kind of plan our crew cooks up to deal with their new shape-shifting problem. This is Inherited Dawn, signing off.
Until next time.